Alright, hey, I'm Pulsar Glitch, and today I'm reading your comments and Aing your cues. I don't like how that sounds. I'm answering your questions. I got my Vietnamese iced coffee. And I'm ready to go. First comment, Splitwire873. Yo, just got a question. Is your music copyrighted? Because I think it would be pretty cool to use a song or two in some of my videos. I'm gonna say yes. There was one time I did like a concert on Instagram Live and I got a message kind of towards the end that was like, hey, this is copyrighted music, you can't use it. And I'm like, but it's my own music. Why? I guess they can't really connect that, so it's not really their fault, but don't you know who I am? So I'm gonna say, unfortunately, yes, it is copyrighted, so maybe don't use it? I'll see what I can do about that because I would like people to use it. I would love for people to use it in their videos. I don't even care about monetization, like just use my music wherever. But yeah, I'll see what I can do about that. Until then though, the answer is yes, it's copyrighted, unfortunately. Next, Juno6 says, great review, well done kid. That is a huge compliment from someone named Juno6, so thank you. Social Gamer says, even though I'm not a musician, I was still pulled in. Very interesting information. Awesome stuff, man. Thank you. My goal in making videos is to try to make them accessible to everybody. So whether you are new to whatever the video is about, or you're a pro user and you want to glean as much information about whatever thing it is as you can. I try to make videos such that they cater to both. If you don't know anything, you can still understand it relatively well, you know, get all the information you need to get out of it in order to kind of get a better understanding of that thing as a new person. But also, if you are more experienced and you have seen more reviews, or if you have dealt with more similar things and you just want to get another person's opinion on it, that my opinion can be helpful because I have enough knowledge to relay that to you. So thank you, this is good. This is exactly what I wanted to hear. Loud Spirit says, doesn't this guy have VCOs rather than DCOs? Okay, so this is on my prologue review video. Yes, it does have VCOs. I didn't know the difference between a DCO and a VCO that is controlled by something digital. Okay, it's weird. There's a technical definition, you can look it up on like Wikipedia or whatever. But basically, the prologue has analog oscillators, and I know they're VCOs, right? But I thought DCOs were just like VCOs that were controlled digitally. But I suppose, you know, because they're like presets and there's like automation, a whole bunch of stuff that you can do digitally with the prologue. So I didn't know that it does have VCOs. They must just be controlled by like MIDI CC or something, I don't know. But good comment, good to point that out. A couple people pointed that out, very helpful. Thank you. You learn something new every day. Xander, hey, it's Xander. I started making music and I was wondering if you could help me get started with my music production. Yes, absolutely. I have Instagram, Snapchat. You can text me or whatever if you have my phone number. Don't call me, I don't answer. If you want to know anything about music production, I will do my best to answer your questions, give you advice, kind of walk you through stuff, teach you how to use stuff. I will totally help. And that goes to anybody, not just Xander, you know, obviously. Thank you for asking. I will help you specifically. But if anybody else wants help, definitely hit me up. I'll be glad to help. Good question. Jack Zimmerman. Any relation to Joel Zimmerman? Asking for a friend. Love your energy. Keep it up. Where are you based out of? Thank you. I have a lot of energy for stuff like this, mostly because of the coffee, but also because I love music. I'm based out of basically the middle of nowhere in Arizona. So I live between Mammoth and Dudleyville. Those are two very, 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 very small towns that like nobody knows about. It's about 50 miles away from Tucson, if you know where Tucson, Arizona is. I'm actually based out of my parents' house right now. I'm making music in my bedroom. I am literally a bedroom producer. But hopefully, in a couple months, probably like October, November-ish, I'm looking at moving out into like actually Tucson, so not being out in the middle of nowhere, working a job at a music store that a friend owns, and hopefully I will not be a bedroom producer, but a living room producer. Ooh, moving up in the world, okay. Good question. It's really hot here. It's like 105. Arizona sucks, don't live here. Retro Plus says, awesome review, I love your enthusiasm for synthesis. Thank you. I'm glad that it shows in my videos because I have a lot of it. I love synthesizers. I wish I could talk to someone about synthesizers all day. That's all. One of the things that I look for in a significant other is the ability to talk to them, with them, about something, anything. I don't care what it is. Video games, music, synthesizers could be one of them. I could talk about it for hours. I love synthesizers. Rubesy1 says, I've been itching to get the Minilog XD for ages now. That's a good little unit, that's a good idea. But I don't like how it's only 4 voices. I love the synth, but I hate that it doesn't have the options of the Minilog XD. So like probably the sequencer, I think some effects, a couple other things. I mean, I could go for an alternative synth, but they ain't as engaging as Korg's brilliant layout. Pray for a Prolog XD. Yeah, I agree. As far as the layout thing goes, man, I just love the Prolog's layout. It's so linear, like it's just left to right. From like a building standpoint too, because you start with the oscillators, then you go filter, then you go envelopes, then you go effects. It's so, why can't they all do that? Why? Anyway, I actually wish there were a couple more versions of Prolog. Maybe like a stripped down Prolog, kind of like the OG Minilog that has like the switchable 2-pole, 4-pole filter, and then also like an analog delay instead of any of the digital effects. So more like a really basic, truly analog Prolog. But yeah, like a more Prolog XD would be cool too, with like more effects, more oscillators, more LFOs. That would be dope. I would not buy it because I'm broke. Good comment. Okay, this is just a whole bunch of people saying they love the Prolog. Yeah, join the club. It's a great synth. Prolog rocks. I love my Prolog. This is honestly a desert island synth. Sounds awesome. Such a great synth. You are all correct. It is all of those things. Yeah, I love it. It's great. It's my favorite. I'm so glad that I chose it over like a Novation Peak or a Summit or any of the more digital ones like Cobalt or an Argon or any of the even analog ones like a Prophet or something, just because of the amount of customization. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to have like a Prophet Rev 2. Those things sound awesome, but I really like the Prolog. I think it very much fits my musical style and how I work with stuff. I really like it. How mogi can you make the Prolog sound? I don't know, let's find out. Well, that was fun. Next! Nicely presented video. Thank you. I'm working on it. I have a Canon M50 that I got recently, back in like March or something, and lavalier mic, and working on my presentation of things, working on what to script, what not to script, to kind of get that flow going. Working on my camera skills. I know they're kind of subpar right now, but I'm working on it. Watching a whole bunch of videos on how to do everything, so that I can figure it out. But yeah, it's really helping so far. People have been like, wow, your content has gotten so much better in the last year, and I'm glad because I'm trying. Hopefully it keeps getting better. That's the goal. But thank you. Sam says, if I were to take a shot every time you said this thing, I'd die of alcohol poisoning. Oh no. This one wins. This one wins. This is the best comment. This video is over. I'm done. It's over. This is an absolute 10 out of 10. Okay, we have another one from Noel. Have you ever played an electric bass? Wait, hold on. I have now. No, I'm kidding. I actually used to own an electric bass. I had like an Ibanez bass that was, it was kind of like very similar to this, but a 4-string, not a 5-string. I'm actually thinking about getting a new bass sometime. Probably like a 4-string P bass or a jazz bass. Those are really nice. I just made that up. That was pretty good. Okay, I have to put this back now. Okay, we have a couple from Instagram here that actually overlap a little bit. Both of these people kind of asked a similar question. Internal Command, you asked way more questions, so I'm gonna divide those up into individual ones. So both asked favorite artist. Oh man, that's hard. Okay, I'll give it a couple different categories. Most influential, The Algorithm, Ronald Jenkins, 9 Inch Nails. They are basically the reason that I am here right now, because I remember back in the day, I was on my laptop listening to, you remember iTunes Radio? Wow, what a blast from the past, right? I was listening to like the 9 Inch Nails iTunes Radio, and more like, you know, 90s metal bands came up, so I would listen to their radios, and it kind of went until I got to a whole bunch of modern metal bands like Circles and Tesseract and a whole bunch of bands like that. And then eventually I would listen to those, and I got to The Algorithm, who I still love. Remy does awesome stuff. He basically fuses metal and synthwave together. It's really dope. So that was what got me into electronic music, along with, of course, originally 9 Inch Nails. And that's why I'm here now. That's why I play metal drums. That's why I make electronic music. And then Ronald Jenkins came a little bit later. He does like just out of this world keyboard stuff. If you haven't seen it, it's an experience. He actually follows me now. What's up, Ronald Jenkins? As far as other artists, I mean, obviously I listen to, like, you know, if you watch my Instagram stories at all, then you know I post about Deadmau5, Rez, Gojira, Mastodon, whole bunch of like 80s synth pop bands like Depeche Mode, Tears for Fears. I listen to a whole bunch of stuff. Actually, I have a playlist on Spotify. So if you use Spotify and you want to hear like kind of my musical inspiration, like I have a playlist of all my favorite music, and it's like right there. It's also in the description. That's probably easier. But yeah, you can go check that out. You can follow it if you want. I add stuff to it all the time. So I think there are like almost 400 songs on it now. It's crazy. But yeah, it's a good playlist. Whole bunch of good music. Thanks for asking. Hi, what's up? How you doing? It's my dog. He's a good boy. You're a good boy. Okay, moving on to a different part of the question from Internal Command specifically. Favorite synth. Favorite synth that I own, the Korg Prologue. Favorite synth that I don't own, the ASM Hydrasynth. Sounds really good. Secret production technique. If you're spending too much time on it, you're probably spending too much time on it. Let me explain. But first, coffee. Okay, now let me explain. Okay, so in my experience, right? Like, I'm talking from experience. I don't know what anybody else is like. Maybe I'm a weirdo. I don't know. But in my experience, when I make music, the way I arrange it and the elements, like the sounds of the elements that I choose to put in each song already very much showcase my style. I have found the more time I put into a song, it's kind of like a bell curve of like diminishing returns. And at some point it actually gets worse. So I've found for me, somewhere around like the 8 to 12 hour mark is kind of the tip of the bell curve. Before that, you know, it's kind of underproduced, it might not sound great, and after that, it sounds kind of like too perfect, and it begins not sounding like me anymore. In my experience, if I spend too much time on a song, if I go through and perfect all of the elements, like nitpicking all the little bits, I find that it kind of sucks all of the me out of it. So a lot of times when I've spent that much time on a song, like I'm just engrossed in this song, what I will do if it begins to sound like that, and I've done this a couple times, is I will actually go through and turn down the mix on those elements, or return them to how they were before I started working on it forever, or even get rid of them completely, especially stuff like EQs, compression, stuff like that on individual tracks. I know that sounds weird because you're always trying to make the levels better so that everything balances nicely and so that everything fits very well. But I think after a certain point, the more and more you do that, the less and less it sounds like your style. So it's really a weird balance that you have to find between making something sound like conventionally good and making it sound your style. So good question and weird advice. Okay, last one, songwriting process. Okay, so I'm gonna rip this straight from a Deadmau5 masterclass because I watched it and I was like, relatable. So I'm now going to pass it on to you. So what I do when I make music, a lot of times, especially with progressive house stuff, with synthwave stuff that just kind of builds over time as opposed to having like set different parts, mess around for like 8 hours on one song. You know, go through, make an arpeggio. I don't like it, delete it. Make a melody, I don't like it, fix it. I still don't like it, delete it. You know, keep doing that a few times. Eventually you have an arpeggio or a melody or a chord progression or something that you like. And then stack a whole bunch of elements on top of it. Grab some random kick, you know, go through kick samples. Okay, that one is mediocre. I'm gonna put it in there. Just kind of get like a rough mix down of it, but have all of these elements. Basically make the biggest part of your song in the beginning. And you know, it doesn't have to be that long. It can only be like 8 or 16 bars. And then you're like 95% of the way there. Then you have all of the elements that you want to use mostly, you know, with the exception of maybe some ambient things in the intro or outro or whatever. But now that you have this big block of things, you can disperse them into parts of the track. You can make an intro that easily fades into this part, or an outro where this part fades out, or a breakdown in the middle where, you know, it kind of strips down to a few elements and then builds back up, or a chorus if you want to do like a verse-chorus structure. You know, you have all of the elements ready. You just have to kind of edit them to fit the different parts of the song. So that is how I do it. I mess around until I find something, build a big part, and then the song just kind of builds itself after that. Although I will say I do not always follow that process. That is kind of like a 95% thing. Sometimes I will sit down at my guitar or my synth and just play. And somehow, magically, I cannot explain it, something comes to me and I write an entire song in one sitting and I'm like, okay, that's the song. That's it. There's the melody. Now I can just put a whole bunch of stuff under it. Or I will, and I have done this, in the words of deadmau5, again, very wise man.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I know where he got that. Oh. Wait. That sounds familiar. Exposed. And even closer. Like Close Encounters. Oh my God, Exposed.
Basically, I will be working on maybe like a remix or a rework of an existing track that I've really grown to like. And then I will change a few chords, maybe transpose it up or down a few semitones, change the tempo, and suddenly it is an entirely new song that sounds nothing like the original, but was at some point a blatant ripoff of it. So that happens too. I have done that for several of my songs. Listen to songs like Albedo. That is one of them. That was supposed to be like a deadmau5 ripoff song, and it turned into like completely its own thing. It eventually became something totally new and different and cool. So don't be afraid if that happens. It happens to all of us, and it can be a great thing. Okay, that's been all my Q&A. I have no more coffee. Thank you for asking such great questions, and thank you for being so supportive in the comments and putting such useful information in there. I really appreciate it. I love you guys. I hope to do more of these. This is not gonna be the only one of these. Might be another one in a bit, I don't know, a few months or something, I don't know. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.